Hi everybody, I'm Rook, and you are at the table with a deck profile here for Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel. This is the Ryu Senshi deck. This is a deck I've been sitting on for a while because I built it when Attack from the Deep came out, and it just wasn't that great. Fusion summons are slow right now in the format, but with the release of Scars of Battle, there were a couple additions that I made, and I think that I told myself, okay, this is finally deck profile worthy. I think I'm going to lay it out for you guys, so let me know your thoughts. This is Ryu Senshi deck. We have the skill card, which is Destiny Draw. Destiny Draw is the best card that I think will work with this deck right now. Pretty universal, you lose 2,000 life points. Your next draw can be you search for the card that you would like. I had thought about Palomization, but Palomization doesn't work because Ryu Senshi, it does say that a fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials, that being the Warrior Digrapher and Spirit Ryu. So Palomization will not work to fusion Ryu Senshi. Moving on to monsters, we have 3. Warrior Digrapher, one half of the fusion required for Ryu Senshi. Also pretty solid warrior monster. Normal warrior, 1700 attack, 1600 defense. So pretty strong beater on its own. And because it's a warrior monster, it's able to get buffed by all sorts of other cards, which we'll see here. We also have Spirit Ryu, the last half of the fusion for Ryu Senshi. I run 2 of these. I used to run 3, but I find I was drawing them too much. So I really just have 2. It's 1,000. But the effect is during the battle step of this card battles, I can actually drop a dragon monster from my hand to the graveyard to boost its attack by 1,000. Spirit Ryu is the only dragon that I have in this deck. So I have actually, I kid you not, I have actually dropped Spirit Ryu on Spirit Ryu before to give it an additional 1,000 if I have both in my hand, for example. So, I mean, the effect isn't really that helpful though in this deck, but because it's one half of the Ryu Senshi, I do have that, but I did decide to run it at 2. Moving on, this is a solid Scars of Battle addition that makes the deck pretty good. 3 Command Knights. Command Knight's a warrior monster, 1,200 attack, 1,900 defense. That's a huge defense. Catches a lot of people off guard. And the effect is while it is controlled, your opponent cannot target it for attacks. So it forces your opponent to target your other monsters. Command Knight also boosts all warrior monsters by 400 attack. So it's actually a 1,200 attack, but it boosts itself up to 1,600 naturally, kind of similar to Harpy Lady 1. And if you have 2 Command Knights out on the field, it actually locks your opponent down, so you're not able to attack. Your opponent cannot attack you, and both Command Knights will be at 2,000 attack, so you really can decide what's going to happen next if you have 2 of them on the field. Command Knight also boosts Warrior Digrapher, of course, and Ryu Senshi. They are both warrior monsters, so I find that it's a pretty solid addition to make the deck pretty viable. And then last monster, this is something I'm just playing around with. Because Command Knight forces your opponent to target other monsters, I put in a Man-Eater Bug. Man-Eater Bug is generally good because it's a flip effect, target one monster on the field and destroy it. So this forces your opponent to attack the Man-Eater Bug if Command Knight's on the field and Man-Eater Bug is set. So it kind of gives you the pick of the litter of what you want to destroy on your opponent's side of the field, which I find has worked so far. Let's go on to spells. Spells, 2 Polymerization, trying to get that Ryu Senshi out. Polymerization, the Warrior Digrapher, and the Spirit Ryu. I do run 2 of those. This is also a little controversial. I'm running 1 Fusion Recovery. Fusion Recovery targets a Polymerization spell card in your graveyard and one of the monsters used for the Polymerization. You can put it back in your hand. This has been a brick, I'd say about 60% of the time, but I have been able to use it a couple times effectively, so I do have it in the deck. This is really the only deck I've considered Fusion Recovery in. I mean, the only other one that I'd think would be Royal Flush, but I'm not really, it's really slow. But I've found that it's worked a little bit, so I'm currently running it in the Ryu Senshi deck. And then because we're dealing with warriors, I have 2 Sword of Dragon Soul in the deck. Sword Dragon Soul, very solid. Probably my favorite equipped card out there right now. Equipped to a warrior monster, gains 700 attack. And it can also destroy dragons if it battles dragons like that. So it doesn't matter if the dragon's stronger than you, the dragon will die at the end, which is great. And now moving on to traps. 2 Michizuri. Michizuri I really like because it works during the polymerization. When a monster is sent from field to your graveyard, you can target an opponent's monster and you can destroy it. So Michizuri, that works if you're polymerization. Say I have Warrior Digrapher or Spirit Ryu on the field, and I'm polymerization into Ryu Senshi. They're technically going from the field to my graveyard, so I can choose an opponent's monster and destroy it as well. So it synergizes pretty well there. Moving on, we have 2 Kunai with Chain. Kunai with Chain, I like the attack boost. I like that it puts the monsters in defense. Not really running any Windstorms of Atakwa here. I'm finding that I'm really only needing to put 1 monster in defense if I need to do that at all. Some of these monsters get pretty strong when you have Sword equipped, and obviously Ryu Senshi's effects are great. So 2 Kunai with Chain and 2 Security Orb. I like Security Orb also
When an opponent's monster is declaring an attack, you can choose to put in defense. And this also has a wild tornado-like quality where if it is targeted and destroyed and sent to the graveyard by any sort of effect, you can target one monster that your opponent controls and destroy it. So it's really great to clear large monsters, very similar to Wild Tornado. Wild Tornado's effect is you can target any face-up card on the field and destroy it, but Security Orb specifies monsters. Typically you're trying to destroy monsters anyway, so I like it. I found that it's worked out pretty well for those that are running like Night Beam or Dust Tornado, so it's been good. And then the extra deck, 2 Ryu Senshi. This is the card that you're trying to get out. Ryu Senshi, 2000 attack, 1200 defense. Not that great of a defense, but the attack is there. Like I mentioned before, it needs to be summoned with Warrior Digrapher and Spirit Ryu only, so you cannot use Palaminization, you cannot substitute anything else as a fusion to get Ryu Senshi out. Now, Ryu Senshi's effect is pretty great. When a normal trap card is activated, you can pay 1000 life points to negate that trap and destroy it. So you're negating pretty much any trap that your opponent is trying to activate on you. This is another reason why I don't run any Night Beam in the deck, because if I'm getting Ryu Senshi out the way I want to, then I shouldn't be afraid of those traps, because I can pay the 1000 life points and I can negate it. It also negates the effects of any spell card that targets this card, as in Ryu Senshi, and destroys it. So Ryu Senshi pretty much unaffected by anything spell related, and of course the negating traps by paying 1000 is great too. The trap does not have to target Ryu Senshi, it's only when it's activated. So you can pay 1000 to get rid of a Windstorm, for example. It's a really strong card. The only gripe I have about the card is that the attack's a little low, defense is a little low, but the effects are amazing, and with the help of Command Knight and Sword of Dragon Soul, I find that it's been really strong. As long as you can get it out on the field, you've got a pretty strong advantage over your opponent. So that's the Ryu Senshi deck. Hope you guys liked it. I'm definitely not using this competitively, but I really wanted to build a deck around Ryu Senshi just because I like the card, and the addition of Command Knights and Security Orbs from Scars of Battle has been helping me. Man-Eater Bug from the structure decks. The deck's pretty fun to play. I really like using it. So if you guys like it too, feel free to comment below on anything else that you would put in it. Feel free to hit the like button and, of course, subscribe for more. Thanks, everybody.